My husband and I weren't talking. Not a word. We were in the same house, same bed, same air, but stone silence. He sat across from me at dinner, scrolling through his phone, pretending he didn't notice the steam rising from my plate or my mood. I picked at my pasta like it had offended me. The clink of fork against ceramic was louder than any conversation that night. Matteo didn't say a thing. No small talk. No eye contact. Just distance. And I was too stubborn to break the silence. Fine, if that's how he wanted it. The room felt cold, even though the heater hummed softly in the corner. We moved like ghosts, drifting past each other in that tight little Florence apartment. One hallway, one shared bathroom, one giant pile of unspoken tension between us. But what happened the next morning? Let's just say the fight ended in a way neither of us saw coming. My name is Amara, Nigerian by blood, Italian by marriage. I met Matteo 4 years ago during a summer trip to Rome. He was charming, annoyingly well-dressed, and had the most intense green eyes I'd ever seen. Fast forward a whirlwind romance, a wedding in Lagos, and now we're tucked into a quiet street in Florence, where the apartment smells like coffee, cinnamon, and drama, depending on the day. We've been married 3 years, and you'd think we'd learned how to fight by now. But no. I yell. He retreats. I poke. He shuts down. And the cycle begins. Yesterday we argued. About what? No idea. Something dumb, I'm sure. A forgotten errand. A tone in his voice. A misunderstanding that spiraled into a full-blown ego match. We both refused to apologize first. He gave me the silent treatment, his specialty, and I ignored him back. My pride wouldn't let me do anything else. The apartment turned into a battlefield with no bombs, just cold shoulders and sighs loud enough to shake the walls. We slept with our backs turned, facing opposite directions like 2 continents drifting apart. But even with the weight of our silence pressing against my chest, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to break. And not just the silence. After dinner, Matteo went straight to bed. Didn't say goodnight. Didn't even look my way. Just brushed past me with that irritating calm he wears like a cologne. The kind that says, I'm unbothered. Except I knew he wasn't. That man was boiling on the inside. We both were. I stayed back in the living room, curling into the couch with my favorite show playing on low volume. Some cheesy crime drama with overacted suspense. I tried to care, tried to laugh at the punchlines I'd already heard before, but my mind kept drifting. Back to dinner, back to the silence, back to Matteo's face when he looked right through me like I wasn't there. The apartment felt tighter than usual, like the walls were holding their breath. I grabbed the remote, paused the show, and just sat there in the dim glow of the TV screen. My stomach twisted with something I couldn't name. Was it regret? Guilt? Lust? Maybe all 3. I stood, barefoot against the cold tile, and walked to the kitchen. I opened the fridge and let the light spill out, grabbing a bottle of cold water. I drank deeply, like I was hoping it would drown the tension inside me. Still restless. Still awake, so I tiptoed back to the bedroom. That's when I saw him. Matteo, my husband, my enemy for the past 24 hours. Lying on his side, shirtless, one arm curled under his pillow, his breathing slow and steady like nothing in the world could shake him. His curls were messy, God, I loved that. But that wasn't what caught my attention. There was something happening under the covers. A whole situation. The sheet had tented slightly near his waist, boldly, proudly, as if it had no idea we were fighting. I froze, then blinked, then stared. A laugh almost escaped my lips, soft, amused, and way too curious. This man is annoying, I muttered under my breath. But this thing? This one's innocent. I tilted my head, arms folded, studying the silhouette like it was art in a museum. That one is mine. I bit my lower lip. My pride was still on fire, still licking at my ego, still whispering, "Don't you dare!" But something deep in my belly rolled, low and hot and stupid. My anger didn't seem to reach that far anymore. I moved closer, slowly, my breath hitching as the distance closed between us and all the unspoken tension melted into something heavier. 1 step, 2 steps, and just as my knee touched the edge of the bed, he shifted, eyes fluttered open. I froze mid-movement. His voice came out groggy, confused. "Amara, what are you doing?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. And then, as if his brain caught up to his body, "Stop," he whispered. Then louder, more insistent, "Stop. Amara, stop." I reached for the sheets anyway, eyes never leaving his. And he just stared back, lips parted, breath catching. At first, I told myself no. It was just impulse. Midnight curiosity. Nothing serious. I could turn around, go back to the living room, let the silence between us live another day. But I didn't. Instead, I stood there watching him. The slow rise and fall of his chest, the flutter of lashes against his cheek, his hand loosely curled at his side, oblivious, peaceful. I moved, carefully, quietly. I lifted the covers like they were made of silk and secrets and slipped in beside him. My heart pounded, fast, nervous, excited. What was I doing? What the hell was I doing? But I already knew. My fingers found the waistband of his boxers, brushing against warmth and skin. He stirred slightly, murmured something I didn't catch, and I froze. Then I kissed the base of him, tentative, gentle. He didn't move. I took him in my mouth, slowly, savoring, and just like that, everything else vanished. The silence, the pride, the argument. I wasn't thinking anymore. I was just feeling. He jerked awake like lightning had kissed him. "W, what are you doing?" he whispered, voice thick with sleep and shock. I didn't answer, didn't pause. I just looked up at him from beneath the sheets and kept going. His hand twitched, grabbed a fistful of the blanket. "Baby, stop. Stop." But he didn't pull away, didn't push me off. His breath caught, chest rising sharply. I felt his thighs tense under my palms. His head tipped back into the pillow, and a quiet groan slipped out like it was dragged from his soul. Still, I didn't stop, because even though my brain was yelling, "You're supposed to be mad," my body was already writing an apology in a language only he could read. Then I sat up, straddled him. His hands, instinctively, gripped my waist. I didn't even look at him. I reached under, slid him into me. Slow, steady, shameless. A gasp escaped him, half lust, half disbelief. "Amara!" he breathed like my name hurt to say. We're fighting." "I know," I said, finally speaking. And then I started moving, rolling, grinding, drawing little circles with my hips, like I wasn't still mad at him. But I was. I was so mad, furious even, but not here, not now. His fingers dug into my skin. His eyes fluttered shut, and still, between the moans and the choked whispers, he kept muttering the same thing. "Stop, baby, stop, stop." But I saw the way his hands gripped tighter, the way his hips bucked against mine. He didn't want me to stop. I didn't want to stop. And as my body moved with reckless rhythm, as the pleasure built into something dangerous and warm, something unspoken passed between us. We were still mad, still broken, but in that moment we were also undeniably us. And just as the tension reached its edge, just as I felt him shifting underneath me, matching my pace, my breath caught, and the door creaked, a slow, deliberate sound, like someone had opened it. I froze. So did he. We both turned our heads, eyes locking on the hallway, just in time to see a shadow slip past the corner. I blinked. What was that? Mateo whispered, voice suddenly sober. I didn't move. I didn't speak, because my heart had just leapt to my throat, and the silence had returned. Only this time it wasn't from a fight. It was fear. I didn't hear the door creak again. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe we were just too caught up in the moment, too naked in emotion, in flesh, in confusion. But whatever it was, it vanished, because the next second, Mateo gripped my hips harder and flipped me. One smooth motion, like his body had been waiting to reclaim something. His mouth crashed into mine, desperate, hungry, wordless. His hands roamed my sides, my breasts, my thighs like he hadn't touched me in years, not hours. I gasped into his mouth, and he swallowed it. His body pressed down on mine, thick and hard and burning. And then he was inside again. And this time he didn't hesitate. He moved like he was punishing me. No, forgiving me. Or both. Every stroke hit deep. Every moan, every pant, every amara came out like a prayer wrapped in regret. You're mad, huh? He murmured against my neck, voice low and broken. Still angry. I clawed at his back. You started it. He bit down on my shoulder, gently, a groan slipping from his throat. And you're finishing it. God. I arched up to meet him, breathless, furious, and in love all at once. You deserve this. All of it. I do, he said, and his rhythm picked up. So do you. And then we lost words. We made love like two people who'd been bottling up everything. Anger, sorrow, lust, loneliness. My nails raked his skin. His forehead pressed to mine. We didn't speak anymore. We felt. I wrapped my legs around him, pulling him deeper. He bucked into me like the war inside him had found its battlefield. And me? I was the war and the peace treaty. It was chaotic, loud, sloppy, sweat and skin and sighs. I cried out. He cursed under his breath. At one point, I sat up, pushed him back, and rode him like I had something to prove. Because I did. He looked up at me, lips parted, chest rising fast, and just kept repeating, Stop, stop. Oh God, Amara, stop. But his hands gripped me like a man drowning in the very thing he was begging to escape. Like he couldn't tell if he wanted mercy or more. Spoiler alert, he wanted more. I rocked my hips slow, then fast, then slow again, torturing him, teasing myself. I leaned in close, lips brushing his ear. Say sorry, I whispered. He moaned instead. Say it, Mateo. I'm sorry, his voice cracked. I kissed his jaw, bit his neck. Good. Then I took him all the way in again, and that was it. He exploded beneath me, body seizing, mouth open in a silent scream as I followed seconds after, biting down on his shoulder to keep from waking the neighbors. And then silence. But this time not the cold, bitter kind. No, this was the silence of relief, of release. We collapsed together, tangled, breathless, limbs twisted in sweat-soaked sheets. I rested my head on his chest. He wrapped an arm around me, pulling me close. For the first time in days, we were warm again. Close again. Us again. His hand rubbed lazy circles on my back. That was different, he mumbled. I think you broke my spine. You deserved it. He laughed, light breathy. Then he kissed the top of my head. I love you, he said softly. I smiled, closed my eyes, nestled deeper into him. But just as I was drifting off, there it was again, a soft tap at the door. Not loud, not aggressive, just deliberate. Tap, tap, tap. My eyes flew open. Mateo's hand stilled. We both looked toward the hallway. Again tap. Mateo, I whispered. His grip on me tightened. I heard it. And then the doorknob twisted, slowly, deliberately. But no one stepped inside. The sun had barely risen, but I was already up, light-footed, floating. My body ached in all the right places. My lips still tingled. My thighs, well, they had their own complaints. But the smile on my face, untouchable. I stood under the hot shower longer than usual, letting the steam erase what was left of the night's madness from my skin. But not from my memory. Never that. Toweled off, dressed in soft cottons and denim, I returned to the room to find him watching me. Mateo lay sprawled across the bed like a man who'd survived a storm, eyes half-lidded, voice hoarse. Where are you going? He asked. I glanced at the clock. Work, of course. His brow lifted slightly, a lazy grin forming. You just used me and dumped me. I turned, grabbed my bag. I did. You didn't even kiss me good morning. I paused at the door, raised an eyebrow. I kissed you all night. And that's when it happened. We both broke into laughter. Not forced, not polite, real. The kind of laughter that cracks walls, that dissolves bitterness like sugar in tea. That feels like coming home. I walked over, bent down, and kissed him gently, once on the lips, once on the cheek. I'll call you later, I said. Don't forget, he murmured, eyes closing again. I'm still recovering. Might need a doctor's note. I snorted. You're fine. He grinned, eyes still shut. Only because you broke me nicely. Later that day, somewhere between emails and coffee refills, my phone buzzed. A message from him. Baby, I want us to fight more often. You completely knocked me off this morning. You never initiate, but wow, do it more. Love you. I stared at the screen for a moment, heat rushing to my cheeks. Then I smiled, one of those slow, foolish, giddy smiles that stay with you all day. And just like that, the tension melted. No long apology speeches. No drawn-out emotional therapy sessions. No dramatic walkouts or teary-eyed reconciliations. Just two grown people, flawed and stubborn, rediscovering something beautiful in the middle of chaos. Love. Not the perfect fairy tale kind. No, this was the gritty, roll your eyes, steal the covers kind. The messy kind. The kind where you argue about the toothpaste, but still hold each other in the dark. It wasn't easy. It wasn't always pretty. But it was real. And sometimes that's enough. Because when pride melts into touch, when silence folds into laughter, when your partner looks at you after a storm and still chooses you, again and again, that's a kind of magic most people overlook. I've been smiling all day since I got his message. And now I realize, love is beautiful. Marriage is work. But when you both still want each other, even in the silence, that's something worth holding on to.